Namaskara and welcome you all to the next session of NEET Zoology sessions by me, Pooja Joshi. Today we shall be starting with body fluids and circulation, which is the third chapter in our human physiology unit. Alright, yeah, so as usual we shall begin with knowing what is the estimated or analytical possibility of the questions, important questions that will appear from which particular part of this chapter. Alright. Yeah, as usual, we are aware that around 2 to 3 questions from this chapter are sure, which means that around 8 to 12 marks are for sure from this chapter. So let's see which part of the chapter has got more weightage. Looking at that, we can see that yellow covers 52%, which is about double circulation. So when we come to that point, we will have to focus a little more. Next possibility is about 35%, which is about the blood. Okay, yeah, which is a lighter shade of blue. 35% is about the blood. Next is 9% regulation of cardiac activity, which includes heartbeat, heart rate, pulse rate. Okay, many other factors are there under that. Lastly, circulatory pathways. Okay, the others are also important. We never know. This is just analysis based on the previous few years. All right. So by saying so, we shall now move into the discussion of the chapter. Coming to the synopsis, what should we know in this chapter? First of all, we need to know what are the body fluids. What are the body fluids? Basically, our body is made up of 75% of water, alright, which means that it is in fluid form. When we say water, it is in fluid form. What all are the fluid contents present in our body? Okay, common things that we know are the blood. Okay, less common things we also know about cytoplasm, right? So this is also included in the body fluids. It's called as the intracellular fluid. Extracellular fluid, which is outside the cells but not the blood. Okay, so extracellular fluid, cerebrospinal fluid, okay, and various other fluids. We shall come to that when we start with the actual discussion. All right, so these are the body fluids, and how exactly are they running in the body? How do they circulate in the body? What do they carry? What is their function? What is their role? About that we shall know in this chapter. Next is what is circulation. Circulation, as the term literally says, it is the movement of fluids from one part of the body to another and with a particular purpose. They simply do not move from here to there. While they are moving, they carry so many contents with them, okay, which need to be transported from one part of the body to another. For example, hormones. Hormones are generated in one part, all right, and they have to reach to all the parts of the body, which is done by the circulatory system. When we studied previously about the digestive system, we also studied that absorption of whatever we eat takes place in the small intestine. From there, how does it reach till our brain? Through the circulatory system. Next, after that chapter, we studied about breathing and exchange of gases. So the entire air that we take in, exchange and all that is all limited till your thoracic level, till the lungs. How does that reach till your foot? Okay, how does that oxygen what has been taken in reaches your foot? It is again by circulation, by blood flow. Alright, so that circulation is a process of movement or transport of blood from one part of the body to another, and this is a repeated thing, it's cyclic process. Next is materials that need circulation. So what exactly what should be circulated in the body? We as discussed, nutrients need to be circulated, all right. Hormones need to be circulated, enzymes need to be circulated, then gases need to be circulated. Along with what useful materials are there, we also need to consider the waste materials that need to be circulated. Circulated as in they should not be distributed everywhere, but should be collected from everywhere. That is the difference here. Okay, so from every part of the body, like let's consider the cells. We know that every cell produces carbon dioxide as a waste product of respiration. So the body cannot keep that in itself. So it has to be removed out. So this waste material is collected from every cell. Again, it enters the circulatory system and reaches the target organ from where it is expelled out. For example, the lungs. Okay, so the other part is the kidneys. Kidneys also are the major excretory organs. We shall study about those in the it's the next chapter. Coming to the next part, it is types of fluid circulation. Okay, what types of fluids actually circulate? We have intracellular circulation, extracellular circulation. Okay, so circulation happens within the cell, circulation happens outside the cell. Okay, what exactly is that? We will come to it. Next is the blood vascular system. Blood refers to, we know what it is, the fluid connective tissue. Vascular is the connectivity, within. Vascular term actually refers to the network through which the blood flows, okay, which is nothing but made up of blood vessels. Okay, so this blood vascular system are of what types? Open circulatory system and closed circulatory system. What does that mean? When we are studying about human physiology, we should not, the chapters are not just limited to studying only about humans. Of course, 90% of the chapter deals with only human physiology, but we also need to study the comparativeness of the previous or the lower organisms. What type of system is present in them? Because no organisms are same, right? So when in humans it is like this, how it might be, let us say, in a frog, or how would the same system be in case of a cockroach? Okay, not in details, but just a brief idea or important varieties of those we shall cover here. Coming to the blood vessels. Okay, blood vessels, what are the two types of blood vessels? Most commonly arteries and veins. Okay, types of blood vessels, in that we shall study structure of the blood vessels and regulation of blood flow. So arteries and veins, of course, are blood vessels. Vessels in the sense something which carries something within it. Alright, vessel is a container rather a kind of it's a structure which holds something inside it. Like we have vessels in our kitchen. So each and every vessel has a particular purpose. Okay, so it's used to store something or to cook something or to for this purpose. The same concept can be applied for blood vessels. So blood vessels are here, in case of blood vessels, these are tubular structures which carry blood within them. Okay, yeah, so what is the structure of these two blood vessels and how does the blood flow in them? Alright, so this will be the next part we shall be covering. Okay, moving ahead, we shall study about the most important part of the circulatory system, that is the blood. What is it? What is the blood? We know it is a connective tissue, but what are its contents and what is its main function? We shall know about that. Next, coming to the blood groups. This is a very interesting concept which is necessary and kind of common concept which any layman should know. He need not be of science background. Okay, this common information is necessary to know because it is more of a social it has a social application. As in, if somebody needs blood group, blood supply for when he is met with an accident or for whatever reason he needs blood. So any human should have a basic idea about what are these blood groups, whom can you give what type of blood. Okay, so this is more of a general concept, okay, which should be known to every person. Coming to blood clotting. All right, whenever we get injured, all right, even without application, small injury like a small cut here and there, even without applying any medicine immediately, internally our body starts the process of healing. So here we shall know how exactly is that happening. Vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction is, vaso refers to blood vessel. Okay, it gets constricted. So if this is the normal diameter of it, it gets constricted to see that the blood flow is limited. When it is this wide, lot of blood can flow out, but when there is constriction, okay, constriction is contraction, there is lesser amount of blood that moves. That is the first step. Next, clot formation. Wherever the injury is, a clot gets formed. Now what is this clot? We shall know about that. Role of vitamin K. What exactly, for the working of the clotting factors and all, this vitamin plays an important role. In case our body has got less amount of vitamin K, then the effect of that is shown on clotting. Okay. Thrombosis. What exactly is this? We shall study in detail under this context of blood clotting. Coming to the next important part of the human circulatory system, that is the heart. Again, as I told you, Before studying the human heart, we will go through the hearts of different lower animals. Is it the same in them or different? If it is different, how is it different from humans? Alright. Coming to the next part. In human heart content, what all we will be studying in detail includes the anatomy of the human heart. Histology. Anatomy is the internal structural arrangement of the heart. Histology is study of the tissue that the heart is made up of. Mechanism of heartbeat. How exactly does this heart beat? We need to understand that the human heart is myogenic, which means that it has the capacity to generate its own impulse. Even if the brain is not sending any impulse, the human heart can still work. Alright? There's an interesting thing about this that I would like to say. We have generally seen in some movies or some examples around that when a person is in coma, okay, when a person is in coma or is declared as brain dead, he will still not be declared as dead because his heart is beating. Okay, if brain is not working, he is fallen on, he is put on the bed, okay, he is completely in ICU and his health, he just can't, he's not in his senses. But still, why don't the doctors declare that he's dead? On the major factor that the heart is still beating. Okay, the heartbeat is still there. So remember one point, the first organ that forms in the human body, okay, when it is in the formation of fetus, okay, in its fetal form, the first proper organ that forms is the heart, okay, and the last organ that stops when an individual dies is the heart. So only when the heart stops, an individual is declared dead. Okay, so this point is important. And why is this? That is because heart is myogenic. It does not depend on the brain for its functionality, while all other organs in our body are dependent on the impulses that come from the brain. We say that brain is the central organ that controls all the other organs. Okay, in your previous classes, lower classes, like in your 10th grade, 9th grade, we have studied that how important is the brain. Without brain, no other organ is active or is under controlled form. But it is the heart which can do its own work. Again, that is because it is myogenic. How exactly is it myogenic? We will come to that. Artificial pacemaker. Okay, what is this? Nourishment to the heart. Okay, we know that heart circulates blood to all the parts of the body, but something has to reach heart for its own nourishment also, right? That part. ECG, what is this? Electrocardiogram. How does it work? We'll see that. Pulse. Whenever you touch your fist, okay, hold your palm, your left palm, with your right hand thumb, just hold the part of your wrist which is below your thumb. You can feel the heartbeat there. We call that as the pulse. Okay, so what exactly, what role does it play in determining about the heart rate? We shall study that. About the heart rate is nothing but the number of heartbeats in a minute. Okay, for that. Then cardiac output, okay, how much amount of blood is given out every minute. Okay, the heart sounds, lup dub sounds of the heart. Okay, what exactly is it? Is it because of heart contraction, or what exactly makes this sound? We shall study that. All right, coming to the next part, that is the arterial and venous systems. How the arteries and veins are intertwined in our body, what role do they play? We shall study about that. Coming to the next important part that we have already seen in the first slide, this is 52% important. Like you have, if 2 questions from this chapter come, one is definitely going to be on double circulation. This is again based on analysis. Yeah, so what is this double circulation? We have pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. Now this concept has got something to do with the previous chapter that we have studied. It is about breathing and exchange of gases. So oxygenation of blood and deoxygenation of blood, it has got to do something with that. So we'll come to that part later. It is covered under this section. Next is the portal circulation. Next is the portal circulation. Now this is something very important that we need to know. What is this? What is this portal circulation? Hepatic portal system, renal portal system, and hypophyseal portal system. We can say that these portal system are localized circulations. Okay, the contents, this connectivity does not have to travel the entire body. Okay, it just has a small loop that circulate blood in that particular region. Okay, yeah, in detail and in proper academic form we shall study the definition there. Blood pressure. So blood pressure is the pressure exerted by the flowing blood on the walls of the blood vessel. Okay, how much pressure is generated and what generates this pressure, it depends on, it just imagine with what speed or how much speed is the water flowing in a pipe. Okay, if the corporation water comes, you turn on the tap, it is very fast. You attach a particular pipe of a particular width which can hold it. Okay, then we can, the pressure, if it is too much, then the pipe will burst, it will just tear off, and there'll be slits here and there through which the water comes out. So we need to look for a proper optimum pipe which will see that the water flow is maintained. Just giving you a small example to tell you what is blood pressure. Similarly, the pressure exerted by the blood on the walls of the blood vessel is termed as blood pressure. Now there are two types here, systolic and diastolic pressure. What is systole? Systole is nothing but contraction. Okay. Diastole is nothing but relaxation. You can just understand it in simple way. Systole is contraction, diastole is relaxation of what? Of the auricles and ventricles. Okay, so we know that the atria, they are also called, auricles are also called as atria. So the contraction of atria and contraction of ventricles are called, it's called systole. The relaxation of atria and the relaxation of ventricles is called diastole. Alright. Determination of blood pressure. How can the blood pressure be measured? Why is blood pressure so important? Because if there is any difference in the blood pressure, that will affect all the organs in the body. Because the normal flow, just imagine if a river is flowing with with a particular amount of water in it, it does not cause any harm. If there is a small, if there is flood, if the gates of the dam are released, then the water pressure is more. This will not allow the water to remain in the stream, to remain in the track of the river. It will move out of its boundary. So what will happen? That will cause problem to the people living around. That is what we call as flood. Similar kind of thing will happen in when the blood pressure is not in limits. It will damage and hamper the working of various other organs in the body. Okay. Now, what are the factors that affect the blood pressure? All right. So let's see what exactly is this. What are the different factors that affect the blood pressure? In what maybe is it the climate, temperature, the weather, or the altitude where we stay? So all these things we shall see in this. Cardiovascular disorders. Again, the last part of any physiological chapter is about the diseases pertaining related to the physiology process there. So hypertensive heart, coronary heart disease also called as CAD, rheumatic heart disease RHD. Oh, this is coronary heart disease can also be called as coronary arterial disease. Okay. Yeah, heart block or heart attack, stroke, atrial fibrillation, then tachycardia. Right. Next is interstitial fluid or tissue fluid. What is that? And then lastly, the lymphatic system, which includes different types of lymph organs and what are the functions of lymph and lymphatic system. We shall be covering this entire chapter till here and from NEET perspective. Okay. So going ahead, let us come to the first part, that is what are the body fluids. Okay. Yeah. Look at this first graph here. Intracellular fluid. Intra term refers to within the cell, inside, intra. Inter means between. Intra means within. So, intracellular within means what is the fluid present inside the cell? Cytoplasm. Okay, so if our body, you just calculate the amount of fluid, around 50% or a little more than 50% is nothing but the cytoplasm, the water content in the cytoplasm. Next, interstitial fluid, we can see that is occupying the next largest region. Interstitial fluid is the fluid present between the cells. Okay, it's also called as, this entire content is called as extracellular fluid, which includes interstitial fluid, plasma, which is the fluid part of the blood, and other fluids like the cerebrospinal fluid, so on and so forth. Look at this image here. It is telling you what is intracellular fluid, ICF, which is nothing but the cytoplasm. Plasma is the fluid content of the blood, and interstitial fluid is a fluid present between the cells. So I hope you got an idea what are the different types of body fluids in our body. Okay, yeah. With this we shall go to the next slide. So the human circulatory system is made up of the heart majorly, and the blood vessels, and of course the blood. So what are the three parts of the human circulatory system? The heart, blood vessels, and the blood. So these three things completely form the human circulatory system. Okay, yeah. You can see the red network branches around here. They are called as the arteries. The blue structures are called as the veins. We all know that these are Wbcs. This is the human heart. Okay. Next, types of circulation. Okay. The intracellular fluid, extracellular fluid, okay, they move inside through, this has to be types of circulation, just pardon me. Yeah, types of circulation is, we see the open type of circulatory system and closed. So what is it that is open and what is it that is closed? Just have a look at this grasshopper. Okay, so when you see a particular section, this is cut, if you cut it at this point and observe from here, it appears in this way. Okay, so the blood that is not running in blood vessels, the blood gets pumped, okay, into these structures, then it is freely given out into the hemocoel. Hemocoel is here, this part. Okay, the internal body, what is there, that part, hemocoel, the blood is given there, and by itself it moves into the, these are called as ostium. Into the ostia blood moves. Again, this is the heart, this structure, the red part is the heart. Blood moves inside, it is pushed to these structures, okay, called as through the valves, and then it enters into the body cavity in the form of hemolymph. Okay, but in case of closed circulatory system, how does it happen? Here the heart is nothing but, it's the pump, it circulates blood, it moves through the valves, and there are, you can see there is no gap, these are all connected through the blood vessels, and they again move back to the heart. So in case of as and how the advancement of organisms takes place, they have closed circulatory system, while the others have open circulatory system. All you need to understand here is that, yeah, we shall just see the definition. Open circulatory system is found in arthropods, mollusks, and some other invertebrates. Okay, what is it? Heart pumps fluid called as the hemolymph through circulatory vessels into the sinuses or the cavities around the organs, allowing direct material exchange. So there need not be any kind of exchange between the capillary and all that. That does not exist. Any waste substance is directly given out of the cell into the fluid, which is nothing but the hemolymph. So body movements help circulation by squeezing the sinuses. Sinuses are nothing but open regions which help in blood circulation. Next, So if this is the heart, okay, so look at this, the blood is being carried, it is freely given here, okay, freely collected, and that is how it continues. So there is no network which is connected. All right. Closed circulatory system. Blood vessels keep the circulatory fluid separate from the fluid around the interstitial fluid. Okay. So plasma and small molecules like oxygen leak out of the vessels into the interstitial fluid, where the materials can be exchanged with the cells. Like we also, you can recollect how the gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli. Same process. Okay, so the blood vessels, capillaries are involved here, while here there are no capillaries. Here there are capillaries or blood vessels, and blood flows only in that network. Okay, it is not given out into the body cavity like it is given in open circulation. Okay, we find closed circulation in annelids and in vertebrates. All the vertebrates and chordates. Chordates include the other two classes, hemichordates, urochordates, and cephalochordates also are they are the chordates, and after them the vertebrates are also exhibiting closed circulatory system. All right, I hope this is clear to you. Next part is come to the blood vessels. What are the blood vessels? Two major types of blood vessels. Just look or concentrate on this slide. Just change the color. Yeah. So we have artery. Okay. We shall just look at the differences. If it is 2 centimeters, let us just consider 2 centimeter is the diameter of both of the blood vessels. For example, yeah, this is just the layers that have been named: adventitia, muscularis, okay, elastic lamina, intima, okay, endothelium. Endothelium is made up of single layer of squamous epithelial cells, which is also called as tunica interna. Muscularis is called as tunica media, okay, and adventitia is tunica externa. All right. Yeah, so these are the layers that a blood vessel is composed of. Looking at the veins, okay, adventitia is there in vein as well. Same, the parts are same. The major difference is always veins contain valves, okay, while the arteries do not have valves. Okay. Yeah. Next part, when you look at this, the arteries carry the actual definition of an artery. Generally, the definition they say that arteries carry oxygenated blood and veins carry deoxygenated blood. No, that is not true in all cases. There is an exception. Pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood to all the to the lungs, while pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood back to the heart from the lungs. So when we just keep that concept in mind, the definition of arteries and veins completely changes. Actual definition of artery is the blood vessel that carries blood away from the heart. Okay, any type of blood which is being carried away, it may be oxygenated or deoxygenated, blood is going away from the heart, those are the arteries. Whichever blood vessel that gets blood to the heart is called as vein. So remember the actual definition. Yeah, let's just come to this slide. Artery, I told you. Here I just gave you this dimension, the measurement to explain you the concepts, which we shall just come in the next slide to that. Look at this. When you look at a vein, the last block, and the first block, artery, what do you see? Let me consider 2 centimeter thing here. If this diameter is 2 centimeter and this diameter is also 2 centimeter, the difference is with respect to the wall and the lumen. Okay, the lumen in case of artery is narrow but wall is thick. Okay, the lumen in case of a vein is wide and the wall is narrow. Understand this difference. Okay, so arteries are they have thick walls and narrow lumens. Arterioles are branches of arteries, okay, and capillaries are the finest blood vessels which reach out to almost every cell, okay. Veins are the blood vessels with thin wall and wider lumen, because blood has to flow, more amount of blood has to flow through it, okay. And they have valves also. Venules or venule is a branch from a vein which again moves to the which again branches finally to the capillary. All right, so here they have given you the distinguishment of the parts. So endothelium is almost common in all. Elastic tissue is more in an artery because it has to withstand the pressure. Please understand this part. Elastic tissue, which we see here, elastic lamina, it is more in case of, or it is present in case of artery, because it has to withstand lot of pressure that comes with the blood just coming out of the heart, okay. We do not find any elastic tissue in arteriole, nor in capillary, nor in the venule. But vein does have that layer, but not as strong or as much as the elastic tissue. Next is the smooth muscle. Highest muscle part is seen in the artery, okay, while in arteriole some amount of it is present. Venule does not have it, and the veins also have it, okay, but not as much as the artery. Lastly, the fibrous tissue. Arteries are highly fibrous. Arterioles do not have fibrous tissue, nor do the veins, okay, and venule has some amount of it, and even the veins possess fibrous tissue. So just have a look at this chart. It will give you an idea what parts of layers are present in the different types of blood vessels. I'll give you a minute. Observe the entire slide. The dimension given, the mean diameter and the mean wall thickness, even observe that. Yeah. Moving on to the next part, it is about types of blood vessels. Again, just giving you an idea how is the arrangement present. Look at this, the artery. It has a lumen, tunica intima or interna, tunica media and tunica externa. This is the capillary. Capillary is always in a network form. Vein, same parts are present in vein. Okay. Next slide. Yeah, this is about the arteries. Look at this. The largest artery is the aorta. Okay. Muscular artery branches out here. Major artery branches out here. This is the aorta. Coming to the veins, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, and the vein branches. The two major important veins are superior and inferior vena cava, which carry blood to the heart. The superior vena cava gets the blood from upper half of the body, that is any part above the heart, which includes your arms, half of your back, okay, your neck region and the head region. Any blood coming from there is received by the superior vena cava. Inferior vena cava gets the blood from any part of the body below the heart, which includes the lungs, okay, the abdominal region, the reproductive organs, kidneys, your limbs. All right, so from there the blood is received through the inferior vena cava. Look at this. Again, another image. There are valves present in the veins which are absent in arteries. Now, why is that? Because valves help in controlling the flow of blood. When it comes to arteries, the pressure, blood pressure that is exerted by the arteries, to push the blood. When it, with respect to arteries, the pushing of the blood is already done by the heart. Heart is supplying blood through the arteries. So the pressure is already present. A origin of pressure is happening from there, and blood is carried out of the heart. We know those are arteries. But when it comes to vein, imagine blood that is being taken from the kidneys. Is there any pressure in the kidney which will push the blood ahead? No. So actually the valves help in pushing the blood ahead. So some amount of blood gets carried here, valve opens, with a thrust it goes ahead. Next valve it comes and stops, with a thrust it goes ahead. Okay, so that is how the valves help in controlled flow of blood and to some extent supply pressure for the flow of blood through the veins. Alright, I hope I'm clear with this one as well. Coming to the next part about the blood vessels again, just see heart. Again, blood flows through the arteries, arterioles, capillaries, from capillaries to the venules, then the veins, and again back to the heart through superior and inferior vena cava. Arteries are relatively large main vessels that conduct blood away from the heart. Arterioles are small branching vessels in peripheral tissue that decrease in diameter, increase in resistance. Capillaries, here the diffusion takes place between blood and interstitial fluid. Okay. Venules collect blood from capillaries and veins return blood to the heart. Okay. Next one. The next important part of the human circulatory system is the blood. We have studied about blood vessels. Now we are going to be studying about blood. Lastly, we shall study about the heart. Okay, so the second part is the blood. What is the blood? Blood is composed of a liquid called the plasma. Okay. So basically blood has two parts. The liquid form and the solid components. Liquid part is the plasma. What are the solid components? Okay, blood cells. What types of blood cells? Erythrocytes, red blood cells, leukocytes, white blood cells, and platelets, which are also called as thrombocytes. Okay, these are the cell fragments. Platelets are generally formed by common megakaryocytes. Okay, megakaryocytes are the cells in the bone marrow which generate blood cells. One type of those cells become completely, they do not carry a lot of cytoplasm in them. They barely have any cytoplasm. They just have rigid hard structures. Okay, not very rigid to say, but compared to RBC or WBC, they are hard keratinized rigid structures which help in clotting of the blood. They form blockages and prevent the flow of blood from the body. Okay, hematocrit is the percentage of blood volume occupied by erythrocytes. Yeah. Plasma consists of number of inorganic and organic substances which includes nutrients, metabolic wastes and hormones that are dissolved in water. It also contains bilirubin, okay, which is a product of hemoglobin breakdown, albumin synthesized in the liver, globulin, which is a type of protein, fibrinogen which functions in clotting. Now, this is an important point which is going to come up now. The plasma from which all proteins have been removed is called as the serum. Okay. So what is serum? Serum is the plasma from which these three contents have been removed. Okay. Yeah. Just have a look at this one. When you centrifuge a particular volume of blood, you can see that the RBCs, the solid components, gather at the base. WBCs are very less in blood when compared to lymph. Okay, so they accumulate here, and plasma, it's a colorless fluid which is going to occupy because it is fluid form, it is going to occupy this part of the test tube. This is the composition of blood. Going ahead, coming to the blood groups. All right. Yeah, there is another point that was missed to be mentioned here. What are the types of WBCs? Okay, we have two types of WBCs called as the granulocytes and agranulocytes. Okay, so there are 5 types actually under them: basophils, eosinophils, neutrophils, monocytes and lymphocytes. Okay, so basophils, eosinophils, neutrophils, monocytes and lymphocytes. These are the types of furthermore classifications of the types of WBCs in a body. Each one of them has got different role to play. Okay, we'll come to that part later. Yeah. Coming to the blood groups. So there are mainly two types of blood groups that are seen in humans. Okay. So we have the ABO type of blood group and another type is the RH blood group. What exactly is this blood group based on? So mainly every RBC has got certain types of proteins present on them. If this protein is present, then they are said to be belonging to that particular blood group. To simplify things, okay, one type of blood antigens, these are called as antigens. Okay, generally the definition of antigen is something which is foreign to the body. Foreign in the sense something which does not belong to the body. Okay, but you may say then this RBC is a part of the body, and if the antigen is present on it, why is it called an antigen? Okay, that is called an antigen because when this RBC enters somebody else's body, there actually the definition of antigen stands true, because against these protein structures antibodies are produced in the other person's body. So that's the reason these structures are called antigens. Both are proteins. Antigens are also proteins. Antibodies are also proteins. Okay. So this particular type of protein present on, there are few two types of proteins present on the RBC. If A antigen is present, then the blood group is A. If B antigen is present, blood group is B. If no antigen is present, if the RBC is bald, then it is O blood group. Okay. Now we say like my blood group is O positive. What does that mean? I belong to blood group O. But what does a positive got to do here? Positive here is with reference to RH. RH is another type of antigen, okay, which is derived. Actually, this RH gives us a clue that we have come from monkeys. Okay, this blood group, this antigen was first discovered in the rhesus monkeys. All right, so which is also seen in humans. That's the reason we gives us an evolutionary relationship that humans, there is some trace of humans that is derived from the rhesus monkeys. So if this particular RH factor or RH antigen is present on the RBC, then an individual is said to be RH positive. Okay. So when my blood is, when my blood group is O positive, it means that my RBC contains only RH factors and no A or B. Okay. If any one of your blood groups is AB negative, let us say B negative, what does that mean? Okay. It means that your blood, it means that your RBC contains only B antigens. Okay, I'll just draw it this way, and no RH. That's why it's RH negative. If a person's blood is AB negative, it means that his RBC contains A antigens as well as B antigens, but no RH antigen. What if a person's blood group is O negative? It means his RBC is completely blank, has no, because it is he's O, he has no AB antigens, and because he's RH negative, he does not have any RH antigen as well. Okay, so just have a look at this tabular column here. When a person belongs to blood group A, he has A antigens on his RBC. When a person belongs to blood group B, he has got B antigens on his RBC's surface. When a person belongs to AB blood group, he has both A and B antigens. Person with O blood group has got no antigens. Okay. Now antibodies in plasma. Whenever you are, if you belong to A blood group, your blood has the capacity of producing anti-B antibodies. Which means that if B blood group is given to you, these are going to clump with it and result in clotting of blood. That's the reason only antibodies a person with blood group A should give you blood. Okay, coming to the next part. Person with blood group B has got antibody A produced in his blood. They are already present in the plasma. Person with blood group AB has got no antigens, so he can receive blood from anybody without any reaction happening. Okay, so he is a universal recipient. Person with blood group AB has got blood group O has got both the antigens, so he can donate blood to anybody. Okay, next, antigens in the red blood cell. This is, as I told, antigen A, antigen B, AB, and none. Let's go ahead to the next slide. Yeah, this gives you a comparison as to who can donate blood to whom. O person can donate blood to anybody who is O, to a person with A blood group, to a person with B, and to a person with AB. Okay, person with A can give blood only to A and AB, not to O nor to B. A person with B can give blood to B and AB. A person with AB can give blood only to AB. This is all because of the antigen antibody reaction. Okay, antigen and antibody reaction. So if the antigen and antibodies do not match, then they form a clump, okay, resulting in formation of a clot. Alright, so if an AB person receives blood from AB, then there will not be any reaction. The blood will be suitable. If let us say A person receives blood from B, A person already has antigens B. A person has got antibodies B. Antibody B will react with antigen B, resulting in a clot formation. So hence he has to receive blood only from A and not from anybody else. Alright? Yeah. Moving ahead, another as I told you, RH blood grouping. These are the RH factors which, when they are present, he is RH positive. They are absent, he is RH negative. An important concept with respect to RH blood grouping is about the erythroblastosis fetalis. Okay. What is this? Erythroblastosis refers to RBC. Okay. Fetalis refers to the fetus. So what exactly happens here? Please pay attention to this part. When RH, now here forget about AB. Okay, irrespective of AB blood group. When male who is RH positive, means his blood has got this type of antigens. Okay, marries marries a woman who is RH negative. Let us say he is O positive, she is O negative. Okay, what happens is, when they reproduce and produce a child, okay, there are chances that the baby can be RH by genetics. When the mapping is done by genes, the baby can take genes of his father and become positive, right? There is connectivity between the baby and the mother, that is through the placenta. What will happen is, whatever these antigens are there in the baby are sent to the mother. So the mother's blood produces the antibodies for it. See, look here, the green ones are the antibodies to act against the RH factor. She prepares herself, her body is now equipped. Okay, the first child is born. The major problem here, erythroblastosis fetalis, is with the second child. What happens here is, the second child, in case if the second child becomes RH positive, that time these green colors, what you can see, the antibodies will act against it. Antigen antibody reaction happens and the baby will not develop because the blood gets clumped. So in most of these cases, the second child, if he is positive again, okay, RH positive, then the baby will not form at all. That is erythroblastosis fetalis. Just have a look here. RH positive man, RH positive negative woman with RH positive fetus. Rh positive antigens can enter the mother's blood during delivery. Okay. Yeah. Next, mother will produce anti-Rh antibodies. Okay. In the next Rh positive pregnancy, mother's antigen Rh anti-Rh antibodies will attack the fetal red blood cells, ultimately resulting in no formation of the blood. Okay, so that becomes fatal to the fetus. The baby is not formed. Yeah, another example here. Rh father, mother is negative, baby is positive. Okay, that liberates Rh antigens into the mother's body. The second pregnancy, she has the yellow ones, which are the antibodies for Rh, which will act on the second baby, resulting in no formation of the fetus. Yeah. Coming to the next concept, which is about blood clotting or blood coagulation. This concept, major role, the hero of this particular phenomenon is are the platelets. Okay, along with platelets, there are so many other proteins that play a role. So let's just have a look what exactly happens here. So when injury or removal of blood from vessels, wherever there is a small injury, primarily the steps of clotting starts, where the first person here to get activated is a prothrombokinase. This is an enzyme. It ends with ASE. So prothrombokinase enzyme is going to convert, okay, it's going to act on prothrombin, which is an inactive protein. What is this? It is an inactive protein present in the plasma. Okay, so along with this prothrombin, along with the action of calcium ions, will get converted into thrombin. So prothrombin, inactive protein, which is present in the plasma, is acted upon by prothrombokinase and calcium ions to form into active thrombin. Now this thrombin is going to instigate fibrinogen, which is another protein. Okay, so protein present in the plasma, fibrinogen will be converted into fibrin, active fibrin, by the action of thrombin. Okay, so these are fibrin threads, okay, that along with the blood cells and the plasma, blood cells are nothing but the platelets, and the plasma form the clot. So one schematic representation. Let's just have a look here. Okay, so prothrombin, presence of thromboplastin and prothrombokinase thrombinase are both same. Convert and they form into thrombin. Fibrinogen becomes fibrin by the action of this thrombin and calcium ions. Okay, so how does it diagrammatically take place? In case there is an injury here where the broken blood vessel wall is there, blood cells start to go out. Like I said, imagine a pipe where there is a slit, water flows out of it. Same thing happens here. So you can see these tiny platelets. Okay, next, activated platelets, they club, kind of form a mesh along with fibrin and form a clot, and they seal this region to see that no more blood flows or oozes out of the blood vessel. Whenever this term, internal bleeding, okay, most of you I'm sure have heard of this term. Internal bleeding is when internal blood vessels somewhere has undergone a rupture like this and the blood flows into the interstitial fluid. When that mixing happens, it is called as internal bleeding, which is again same phenomenon is applied there as well. Clotting of blood takes place in the similar manner. Okay, yeah. Now to instigate or to activate prothrombokinase, there are various other factors called as the clotting factors. Alright, which are again different types of proteins, and activation of these clotting factors happens by vitamin K. Vitamin K helps for activation of clotting factors 8 and 9. Okay, these clotting factors in turn they activate the enzymes then further activate all the required proteins. Okay, what we have seen here in the left side slide. Okay, yeah, another concept called as thrombosis. What is this thrombosis? Atherosclerosis is a condition in which plaque builds up on the inner lining of arteries. Okay, just take a note of this statement. This is actually a cardiovascular disorder. What is it? It is a condition in which plaque builds up on the inner lining of arteries. Now, how does atherosclerosis develop? A fatty streak develops inside the inner layer of the artery. If this is the artery, fat formation, accumulation takes place here, the yellow region. This develops into a plaque which is made up of cholesterol, fat and calcium. So why am I telling this? We'll come to that. This is the connective tissue, smooth muscle of the blood vessel, endothelial cells. Okay, this is fibrous cap, artery lumen, blood. This is a plaque formed. Don't you see it is obstructing the normal flow of blood here? Okay. Yeah. Next, what happens is, what causes thrombosis? The plaque develops a fibrous cap which stabilizes it. Over time, the fibrous cap weakens, causing the rupture of the artery. Rupture causes platelets to stick to the blood vessel, releasing clotting factors. Okay, clotting factors trigger a blood clot. Blood clot is nothing but thrombosis to be formed. Okay, thrombosis completely blocks the arterial lumen, which can lead to heart attack. Okay, heart attack or blood. When the blood flow stops, how is it going to reach the heart? Gradually the heart is going to stop. Okay, what are the consequences of thrombosis? Thrombosis can grow and eventually completely block the artery. Blockage can occur in an artery in the heart called as coronary thrombosis. This can lead to heart attack, myocardial infarction. Blockage can occur in an artery in the brain, okay, leading to brain block, then this which can lead to stroke. Alright, just to give you an idea about how thrombosis or blood clotting plays a role in with respect to clotting, with respect to the cardiovascular system. Yeah, coming to types of heart in lower animals. Alright, so with this heart part we shall continue in the next session. We shall just have an overlook of whatever we have studied till now. Okay, so we have covered until now with respect to what are body fluids. We know there are three types. Okay, mainly intracellular and extracellular fluid. Okay, the interstitial fluid and the plasma are all part of the extracellular fluid. Circulation is the flow of blood or flow of any body fluid that carries particular contents to be transported from one part of the body to another. Okay, we have different types of circulation, intra and extra circulation, blood vascular system. Okay, yeah, how types of circulation are open and closed in lower organisms. Wherever there is complete blood flow within the blood vessels, it is called closed. Whenever there is release of content or blood hemolymph into the body cavity, it is called as open circulatory system. The examples are given right here. Okay, blood vessels, arteries and veins. Okay, arteries carry blood away from the heart, okay, for distribution to the body. They are aerated blood except the pulmonary arteries. The flow of blood is intermittent and fast due to the heartbeat. Their blood has considerable pressure. They have thick elastic walls with narrow lumen. Okay, they have no valves in them. They become empty after the death of the animal. When they are empty or cut across, they retain their tubular form. In tunica interna, the inner layer, elastic membrane is thick and endothelial cells are more elongated. Tunica media is thin, having few muscle fibers and elastic fibers. Okay. Next part, when we study about veins, veins bring blood from the body back to the heart. They contain non-aerated blood except for the pulmonary veins. Here, non-aerated refers to oxygenated. Alright. Next, the flow of blood is slow and steady. Their blood has low pressure. They have thinner elastic walls and wide lumen. They have valves to prevent backflow of blood and to counteract gravity. They contain blood even after death of the animal. When they are empty, they collapse. In tunica interna, elastic membrane is thin and endothelial cells are not very elongated. Tunica media is thick and has more muscle fibers and elastic fibers. Yeah, you've seen this. Blood contains plasma, blood cells, okay, WBCs, RBCs and the thrombocytes. All the types of blood cells are generated from the bone marrow. Okay, the types of blood cells: erythrocytes, neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, and lymphocytes and monocytes are the types of WBCs. Erythrocytes are all same. Okay, they are all without the nucleus. All right, they have a span of 120 days, while WBCs live for around span of 3 to 4 years until and unless they encounter any type of a disease. When any disease, for example, let us say you have contracted typhoid, okay, so your WBCs are going to work for it to see that the effect of typhoid is reduced, and in that process they are going to perish, they are going to die. So new WBCs are generated. So on an average, if for 3-4 years your body is not contracted with any disease, which is not really possible, at least common cold and fever is common every year for an healthy individual. So by then all the WBCs are utilized and fresh ones are produced by the bone marrow cells. Okay, platelets are again cells without cytoplasm as such. They are irregular cells that mainly help in the clotting process. Okay, yeah, we have seen blood groups. There are two types, ABO and RH. So ABO is with respect to the presence of an antigen on the surface of the RBC and presence or absence of that. Okay, and whichever is present, the antigen which is present, its antibody is seen in the blood. It's opposite. The other one, suppose A antigen is there, then B antibody is in the plasma. If B antigen is there, A antibody is in the plasma. If AB antigens are there, no antibodies are in the plasma. If no antigens are there on the RBC, then both the antibodies are found in the plasma. Yeah. Who can donate blood to whom is also seen here. Okay, erythroblastosis fetalis, RH factor, we have studied that as well. Yeah. Clotting of the blood, important factors: vitamin K helps in activation of different proteins, clotting factors. Clotting factors in turn enhance the functioning of enzymes which work on proteins like prothrombin to form its active component thrombin. This thrombin acts on fibrinogen, which is another inactive protein, to form fibrin. Finally, the fibrin threads along with the platelets, they are going to form a clot and block the flow of blood from the blood vessel. Thrombosis is a process where formation of blood clot takes place in the artery, resulting in blockage of the artery, okay, which is fatal to the body. Okay. By saying so, we shall stop for today. See you in the next session to continue with the types of hearts, different types of hearts, and about the human heart present. Thank you very much.